All right, it is the last day of the 2022 World Aquatics Championships, day 17 of 17, the 3rd of July 2022. So, let's get started. The logistics for the day. There are 2 more videos as part of kind of this writing production and YouTube video production for the World Championships this year, 2022. So there are 2 more videos to come, pending nothing going wrong or changing. The first is a reflection decompression video to come on the 6th July 2022. And so that one is coming up with a list of things to kind of, I'll do a reflection / decompression here for the YouTube component, and then one on my Wikipedia user page for the Wikipedia writing and publishing component. And it's meant to get myself to reflect and kind of introspect on making these videos in writing and publishing about the championships and how it went. Was I happy with what I put out? What might I change about it? Thinking about, was it successful for what my goals were? And then if I were to do it again, would I do it again? And if I did it again, what might I choose? And so I'll come up with a few kind of categories for reflections and kind of reflect on the experience and share that in video form. And then the second video to come is a soundtrack video to come on 6th July 2022. And that is just going to be literally me going through each day by date and then reading the songs and the artists for the song for each day. And there's a playlist that I made for the soundtrack I rolled out for the 2022 World Aquatics Championships as it went, and it's linked in the video description. But I thought I would put that in a video form as well. The video will not go in the playlist. At least that's not the intent. The intent is for the video to be different than the soundtrack, just kind of cover the soundtrack. Yeah. And maybe even have a little reflection on the soundtrack. So, yeah. All right. So those are kind of first logistic item. Second one, unless we count each video as its own logistic item, then that's 2. So next one, doesn't have to be second one, it's a curiosity / observation. Just kind of, so the 2022 World Aquatics Championships banned athletes and officials from the country of Belarus and the country of Russia. And I was kind of thinking about, there's all this stuff on TV about World War II and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, I was thinking about my life experience in living in Hawaii in 2000. I lived in Hawaii from 2012 to 2015. And Edward Snowden was living in Hawaii, and that he left Hawaii and leaked a bunch of stuff about he worked for the National Security Administration stuff, leaked a bunch of stuff, and then ran around the world and ended up in Russia. And I overlapped in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI in the United States of America, actually came to the University of Hawaii at Manoa campus, so that's where I was attending the university, and they actually gave a talk on cybersecurity at about the time Edward Snowden was stealing and had stolen all the stuff. So it directly impacted my life and what was offered. Like, we actually got to go to a talk by the government about cybersecurity if we wanted to go, and stuff like that. And so it's just kind of interesting because he is still in Russia. So it's like, what's kind of the curiosity / observation is, seems a bit inappropriate for Edward Snowden, an American, to be living in Russia, considering the amount of boycotts on Russia by Americans. Maybe it is time for his return to the United States of America. Currently, United States of Americans look worse than Nazis, as they have banned countries pay for their criminals. So it's an interesting case of America. The United States of America is not providing funding for Edward Snowden to be staying in Russia. So there's a bit of, it's a lot worse than the Nazis in the sense of the Nazis housed people in camps, which isn't a good thing. Okay. They still did provide food and stuff like that. The Americans are worse in the sense of they take the criminals and ban the country that's housing the criminals, force the country to pay for them, and then say, we're not going to accept any of your guys' stuff. Which is like, it's very unethical or moral. So I was just kind of like thinking about, maybe it's time America starts taking responsibility for their criminals and Edward Snowden returns to the United States of America. So it was just kind of just a curiosity / observation. That was just kind of like, all right. So that's that logistic item. The last logistic item is food for thought item. So Matthew Sates and NCAA/USA trying to take credit for his success at these World Championships after spending about 3 months at an American university. By that logic, then Africa/South Africa can take credit for all of my success after living there for about 5 months in 2012. So this really gets into how the United States of America and the NCAA, and especially the NCAA in sports, wants to take credit for anything that dabbles in the system. And so, like, he was in the United States of America for approximately, I think it was less than 3 months. And so then now the NCAA is saying those 3 months are the only reason he's being successful. They want to say it's because he spent 3 months there that he is successful now and was not before. And so I don't really have a stance on that. I think it's a very American thing to do. Not all places I've been do that kind of thing, even in America. So I went to the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I was accepted to that school when I lived in South Africa. I said yes to attending there. I transferred, did all the paperwork and stuff like that when I lived in Africa. So in that sense, yes, any success I got from attending that university can in some form be attributed to living in Africa. Does that living in Africa/South Africa overprint all of my life experience before living in Africa and South Africa? Because that's what the NCAA in the United States of America is trying to do by claiming the legacy or success of a person. They're saying everything, so this 3-month chunk of time in the NCAA by Matthew Sates essentially was more important than everything he had done up to that point before he ever reached the system. Like, he's not successful because of who he is. He's successful because of the 3 months in the NCAA. And so I'm throwing this out there as a food for thought item, because if that were true, then by that logic, all of my success since living in South Africa and Africa in 2012 for about 5 months is due to Africa, not the United States of America where I've lived and stuff like that. I don't know. I would have to think about that. But Matthew Sates was here for less than 3 months, and I was in Africa for a hair under 5 months. So I was there for 2 months longer, so could argue that it was Africa, then maybe the right word is erased all of the American stuff. I don't know. It's a food for thought item. It's like, it's a food for thought item, I guess, instead of reaching a conclusion, I've noticed a trend and I've been like, well, that logic applies somewhere else that I have experience in, so maybe I'll task it to myself to think about it on some level. So that's kind of why I termed it a food for thought item, is it's something that's entered my purview, so to speak. Countries of interest results. We did not have any countries in the in the events going on today, so not applicable. Long penguins of interest. We had nobody in the events going on today. Medal table, no new medals and no changes to the medal table that we already have. And medalists, no new medalists and no changes to the medalists we already have. Other interest-piquing results. Lorenzo, this one is actually a good segue to, there's other sporting competitions happening this summer. It's kind of a jam-packed summer for aquatic sports. So the segue is, it's not an interest-piquing result for the 2022 World Aquatics Championships. It's actually for the 2022 Mediterranean Games, which are going on right now and extend past today. And so it's Lorenzo Mora of Italy in the 50-meter backstroke male who won the bronze medal after qualifying for the final ranking 6th. And so this is a big deal for this guy. He's kind of having he is having a breakthrough in international competition in the long course meters pool format. So it's pretty cool to see that. The Mediterranean Games, kind of in watching who's competing and having multiple swimmers that I made Wikipedia pages for and have been following and writing and publishing about, it's interesting to see kind of the swimmers who end up competing at the Mediterranean Games and see where it plays kind of a very pivotal and crucial role for people venturing into a new format or returning to competition and stuff. Like, it's huge the diversity of medalists is better than it's better, like there are countries represented that at the Mediterranean Games on the podiums that don't medal at the World Aquatics Championships. We'll put it that way. So it's more diverse in huge breakthrough arena and comeback arena and stuff like that. Just yeah, and it allows people to keep competing if nothing else is competing at the Mediterranean Games is kind of like a huge signal or signifier of intent to continue competing kind of thing. So I don't know. I think it's a very unique thing. It's a regional thing, and it's a pretty cool. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's going on right now and continues past today. So that is the last recitation format video for results of interest for a day or part of a day of the 2022 World Aquatics Championships. 2 more videos to come, the reflection/decompression video and the soundtrack video. Have a wonderful day.